Hey guys, welcome to another video. My name is David Pinto. They also call me Tips with Dave. And as I mentioned, I'm going to be talking about automations and workflows and how to use them in System.io. So we have built an email campaign. We built a sales funnel. We've done the tags. We are pretty much using everything for free, as I mentioned. If you do want to have the paid versions, there are, I would say, just get the $27 one. That is more than enough for you to go ahead and start in your first year. So that would be the, at the most cost that you have spent for the month. But anyways, let me go ahead and share with you this section right here, which is automations. So in automations, you have two things available. You have rules and you have workflows. I would put rules and workflows just to give you guys an understanding. Rules is action that has let's say is triggered and then it has an action immediately after that. So it follows an immediate action. So let's say you're tagged about something or something happens and immediately after that something has to take place. So there's a trigger and there's an action. There's a trigger and there's an action. However, with the workflow, it's a little bit more flexible in the sense that you have a trigger and then you have an action, or you have a trigger and then you have a decision. Let me just give you guys an understanding of workflows because that is something that you should pay attention to. So I have one test one created. Again, sorry, let me go back and do this slowly. You go to automations, workflows, create, and then you will be able to, as you can see, just name your workflow, and that's about it. I created a test one, as you guys can see, and then you can start to basically create this automation yourself. Now, just to give you guys an understanding, it always starts with the trigger. Okay, so a lot of people set up workflows for email campaigns. The reason why they set up workflows for email campaigns is because maybe in that email campaign you want to have different elements. So after this email, you need another email to go through, but if somebody doesn't click on that, then they start this campaign right here. So you can have let's say the flexibility in different campaigns, but again, it's more advanced, but it's just to show you. You create your first trigger, so it's always a trigger that's needed. And make myself a little bit smaller so that we can do this training well. Create a trigger. You create a trigger. You can, let's say you want the trigger to be a meeting schedule, that the information or the tag added, or a funnel, or a blog page subscribed, whatever it is, or a funnel completed, webinar registration. Sometimes people do this for enrolled courses. So if they've enrolled the course, if they've completed the course, if the module is complete, let's say you want to, in the middle of your course or in the middle of a series, you want to ping them another email just to re-engage them, then this is what the trigger can be. Okay, so these are multiple things just to show you guys. I would create, for example, if somebody goes to a digital store. Okay, I have created a digital store, and let's say I create this digital store. I go here, or the digital store is not live, so I cannot activate it. Let's say that I'm collecting email from that digital store. I can do that, and that's the trigger, and I click on create. In this I cannot do it because I don't have it. So let's say funnel form subscribed. We choose the funnel that we made, and let's say we wanted the landing page too. Okay, that's what happens, and that's a trigger. And then you have action, decision, and delay. So if this happens, you want an action. Let's say the action is apply a tag, and the tag that we want to apply is follow up, right? So this is what happens. Now from this, there is another action that happens. You enroll to an email campaign. Let's see if you can actually do that. I'm not sure if you can enroll to an email campaign. You see, subscribe to a campaign. Perfect. So the person now is getting a campaign. Right now, there is a reason why I personally don't do this setup in workflow, because I believe it's easier to do it it's just an action based thing, so I believe it's easier to do in automations. But just to show you how a workflow is, you can see what happens. So they subscribe to this campaign. Now when they subscribe to this campaign, they get this entire email. Let's say you didn't want them to subscribe to that campaign and you wanted them to be, let me say, okay, so they subscribe to this campaign, and then the action is they complete this campaign. Yeah, let me see if I do this and I go decision. After they've subscribed to this campaign, you can choose filter. So let's say the email contact state activity needs to be, no, let's say the email open, and then you pick the last email that was open. So you have to choose the right email. In this case, I'm just going to pick any email for you guys to understand. I say that they go through this email. The decision is that this email is open. If that email is open, so person opened this email, right? Let's say we want to say not open but clicked. Use the same email. So what happens is subscribe to this campaign, and then once they subscribe to this campaign, if the person on the link of the email, this email has clicked on the email, yes, then they go to a different action. So then say if they have, then you remove tag, which is follow up, just to give you guys an understanding. And then if they haven't clicked on the email, then the action is that you can, let's say, send a specific, sorry, send an email, and you choose a specific email that you want to send. Okay, that's it. Just to give you as an understanding, and then you can wait a day. So a lot of people do this setup for the email campaign itself. They have one workflow for an email campaign. So say if you want, instead of writing a campaign, you just write different emails in your newsletter, for example, section. I believe that's the case. And then you can start I'll show you guys how to do this, right? So if you have an email, let's say you have to send a specific email, right? When you click on create new right here, you start to write the email in the same way. So I'm just going to do test, save and edit. And where does it take me? It basically takes me to this workflow, and you set up an email. So you're sending a specific email for that, and you can start to write email, wait, and set up your entire email campaign as a workflow. So it's up to you whether you want to do it as a workflow or whether you want to do it as an email campaign. That's pretty much how workflows look. And that's why you can see the flexibility here, right? There is a yes, no, there's an action, decision, and delay. Those are the elements that are needed. I personally don't use workflows. I personally, at the moment, and with this affiliate marketing strategy as we're talking about, I think rules are more than enough. Now you can apply rules. Just to show you guys, when you create a rule, you can see there's a trigger. As I mentioned before, there's a trigger. When this event happens, then you do this. Okay, so there's a trigger and an action. Now there are two ways to create rules. One is exactly how I'm showing you right now, where if you go to rules, you basically go and click on create, then you add the trigger, and then you add the action. So that's one way of creating the rules. But I want to just share with you that there are two places we want the rules set up. So remember, I personally apply two rules, or one rule for I can apply one rule. If you are on the free plan, let me divide it this way. If you're on the free plan and you just want to have the one funnel with one tag, with one list basically, and one campaign, and want to just keep one rule in place, all you need is one rule. And what that rule will be is, when the funnel step has been subscribed, you do two things. We want two things. So this is the only rule that you will ever need if you are doing it, which is you create, I'll show you guys, okay, the rule. And this rule, which I'm talking about, you can add on the sales page. So just to give you guys an understanding, guys, automation rules can be added in two places. One is here, and the other one is directly on the sales page. But the one on the sales page is only applicable for the sales page. Can you see right here that I have campaign completed? That means that I have automation rules set up for a campaign, not a sales page. Therefore, it will not be visible on my sales page. Okay, I will literally talk about the map one so that you guys understand. These two rules right here are for that map funnel, right? I have two rules set up, but you can have one. It's not a problem. I'll explain to you what it is. This is one is the funnel form is subscribed, and then also if the campaign is completed. So let's go to your sales page and let's go to the funnel. And as you can see right here, if I go and click on automation rules, there is a rule setup. This rule you can set up here. You can literally go here to automation rules. Let me just do it. Okay, you can go to automation rules and say, I want to add, right? You click on add and you start to add. In this case, since there's already a rule set up, I can't set it up again, right? So it only shows me page visited. No, I don't want that to be the trigger. I want this to be the trigger. So as you can see right here, when somebody subscribes to this funnel, this squeeze page, so I will delete this rule and I will set it up again for you guys to understand. Okay, let's go back, go here, and we're going to delete the rule, so it doesn't exist anymore. Now we're going to add rule on this page. The trigger is going to be funnel form subscribed. Obviously, it's going to, when you do it from the sales page, it automatically picks the page that it's going to subscribe to, from which it's going to subscribe to. Action is that it's what's going to happen here. What this is the trigger, but what do we want to happen in this automation rule? We want one that when somebody subscribes, they go and get tagged to be on a specific list. In this scenario, it's going to be map follow-up. Okay, that's the first thing. And we want a second action to happen when this happens, is that they subscribe to a campaign. And what is that campaign? That campaign, and this is just for tracking purposes, okay? And that campaign is going to be map follow-up campaign. What's happening here, guys? We have map follow-up tag, so that's the list, which is going to the map follow-up campaign, which we've created. And we click on save. Now, this is the trigger. This is the rule. Now I'm just going to go back to rules so that you guys can see how the rule is looking here. Okay. So when this funnel form is subscribed, you add a tag, and you can see it right here. You add a tag and you subscribe to the campaign. This is what we just did. This is literally what we just did right now. Okay. So that is available for you, as you guys can see. I don't think there's, let me just refresh this. Sorry, you guys. Yeah, we go. So you see funnel form subscribed. This is it. And this is going to be for, I did this for both landing pages, right? So you can see that this, I have 2 landing pages and this was done for both landing pages. But as I said, you need this one rule. This one rule right here is all you need if you have just one tag, just one campaign, and just one funnel, right? You need one automation rule, which is if a person subscribes to that form, they get added to this list and they get that campaign which you've set up. That's it. Okay, that's it. I use it in such a way that once that campaign is completed, I add them to a new list. Just because as I mentioned before, I don't want to send, I use a newsletter feature and I don't want to send broadcast. I don't want to interrupt the follow-up process. But again, that is a little bit more advanced. I personally think it's good to start off with that. But for that, you need the paid plan. Okay. Hope that's clear. I hope you understood the difference. Just to summarize, automations has a clear action, clear trigger, and a clear action. And that's all. So it's very fixed and standardized. This is what is going to happen. However, with workflow, it is more flexible. So if you want, you can create an automation and an email campaign and a whole automation with just a workflow. That's also absolutely possible. And you don't need to have 2 steps as I do. I think this is a little bit more clean, but I know a lot of people that also just use workflow to have the automation, so the trigger that goes to then a campaign and also subscribes to a page and so on and so forth, right? So there are multiple things that happen at the same time, and they've created a whole workflow based on exactly what I shared with you today. So that's what it is. And the next video, we're going to talk about the other features, but I'm also going to give you a whole understanding of what's going on. So this automation puts things together. Now, when somebody goes to this page right here, and let's use the second page, and enters the email address and then goes to the next page, they automatically are getting added to this tag, the map follow-up tag, and they're automatically getting the email campaign that we've set up. Clear? I hope it's concise. That's how this whole process begins. I'm super excited to the next videos because now we've set up the funnel, right? So I'm going to show you how you put the funnel into action and advertise it and everything else. So guys, we're going to talk about in the next video, the other features. Then we're going to talk about advertising, and then we're going to talk about a few other things in this series. So it's not yet over. Make sure that you have checked things out. If you haven't set up your funnel already, make sure that you've checked things out in the previous videos, and I'm going to see you on the next one.